What's the best wood size to use on your Oklahoma Joe's offset? We're gonna find out in this video, so let's get smoking. Welcome to the Smoke Lab. My name's Steve Gow, and on this show I do crazy barbecue experiments you would never do at home, so you can learn from my trial and error. Wood size. Should you use small chunks of wood on your offset smoker or big splits of wood? To find out, I'm cutting some wood splits down into 3 different sizes using my alligator loppers. If you're going to be cutting your wood down to size, I highly recommend getting an alligator chainsaw like this because it's way safer and easier than using a chop saw or miter saw. The first size is this, around 10 inches by 2.5 inches. This is a large split size for a small offset smoker. Second, I'm cutting down some splits to around 5 inches by 2.5 inches. We'll call this the medium size splits. Next, I'm cutting down some wood chunks similar to the ones you would see in those bags at the hardware store. Oklahoma Joe's also sells some really nice wood chunks, by the way, if you're looking to smoke with this size of chunk. And finally, here are all the wood sizes we'll use today: small, medium, and large. To kick things off, I lit up the firebox with large splits. The split size doesn't really matter at this point because we're just concentrating on burning some initial wood and setting up a healthy coal bed. While I wait for the smoker to preheat, I'm seasoning up some pork cheeks, also called pork jowls. I'm starting with a layer of Smoke Trails BBQ brisket rub, then a layer of Smoke Trails Let's Gow general purpose BBQ rub, and I'll let those sit on the counter for a few minutes to soak up the rub. Heading back outside, the pork cheeks are going on the smoker, and I'm going to aim for around 250 to 275 degrees Fahrenheit for the first 4 hours. Now, I've got a decent sized coal bed going, and I'm around my target temperature of 275, so I'm adding a few splits of the wood chunks to keep things going. I found that it was much easier to hit a stable target temperature of 275 with smaller chunks by adding them more frequently, but unfortunately I had to add them every 10 minutes or so or risk the fire burning out and having to light it again, so it was pretty inconvenient. I was always kind of working on the edge of trying not to add too much wood and having my temps spike up too much, and trying to add enough wood to keep the coal bed strong enough and the fire going. Now, this is an all wood test for this video, but usually I'll supplement with charcoal, and I find that helps to maintain a healthier coal bed and just keep the fire going strong. So what I'd recommend is using a little bit of charcoal at the start and also adding a few chunks of charcoal along with your wood chunks every 10 to 15 minutes when you add your fuel. Based on this experiment, I wouldn't recommend going with all wood chunks because you'll end up adding them really frequently and it's really difficult to sustain a coal bed with them. But in general, adding small chunks frequently is the way to go if you want to be as close to your target temperature as possible, but you kind of sacrifice convenience. Next up, I used the 5-inch by 2.5-inch medium-sized splits. These bumped the time between adding splits to around every 13 to 15 minutes, so a little bit more convenient, and it was easier to keep a strong coal bed going. This size was a good mix of convenience and temperature stability. And finally, I tried using the larger splits. I only had to add splits every 15 to 20 minutes, which was really nice, so maximum convenience with this size, and it was really easy to keep a strong coal bed going. But the fire got out of hand more than once, and I had some big temp spikes, which means I had to close the firebox door right down and kind of choke the airflow, which meant a dirtier fire, more smoldering wood, and it created more smoke. So if you're looking for convenience and you don't mind running a dirtier fire with a little bit more smoke, then these large wood splits are actually a good option. But if you want to go low and slow with thin blue smoke, I'd probably go with the medium-sized splits or charcoal plus wood chunks. Back to the pork cheeks. After 4 hours at 275, they have some nice bark on them, so I put them in a pan with some ghee, also called clarified butter, and I continued cooking them at 275 covered. 3 hours later, I checked them, and I could finally poke my finger right through them, and they were super tender, so I removed them from the offset smoker. After I sliced them up and tried them, they were super delicious. I would definitely recommend trying them if you can get your hands on some pork cheeks. So what is the best wood size to use on an Oklahoma Joe's offset smoker? Well, it kind of depends on what you're going for. If you want precision temperature control, I would go with charcoal plus small wood chunks and add them quite frequently. But the downside to that method is you'll be adding fuel every 10 minutes, so it's pretty inconvenient. If you want maximum convenience, then I would go for the large split size. But unfortunately, if you don't want to get huge temperature spikes into the 350 realm, then you're going to have to close your firebox door right down and choke out the airflow so that you get a much dirtier fire, more smoke, but longer burn times. But if you don't mind more smoke flavor, then this could be the way to go. And finally, if you want something in between with convenience and thin blue smoke, really clean smoke, and also pretty good temperature stability, then I would go with the medium-sized splits. And to be honest, I'd probably supplement with a little bit of charcoal as well. That's what I do. But I'm interested to hear from you guys. What size wood splits do you use? Let me know in the comments section below, and until next time, happy smoking.